Pleaded guilty to federal civil rights violations in the 2023 fatal beating of Tyree Nichols by 5 police officers. His mother, Rovon Wells.
I'm grateful that he did plead guilty, but it doesn't help my pain. I will never have my son back.
All officers who are black still face criminal charges. A day before Ukraine celebrates the anniversary of its break from the Soviet Union, President Biden announced another military aid package headed to the country and levied more sanctions against Russian war supporters.
To mark Ukraine's Independence Day, the Biden administration is imposing sanctions on almost 400 individuals and entities for supporting Russia's wartime economy, including several in China the U.S. accuses of exporting items to Moscow that can be turned into weapons. This comes as the Ukrainian military has launched several successful drone strikes on infrastructure inside Russia the Kremlin relies on to support its war machine. Shannon Kingston, ABC News, the State Department.
16 Republican-led states filed suit today to block a Biden administration program to ease green card applications for undocumented immigrants who are married to U.S. citizens. The suit claims the White House bypassed Congress to create a path to citizenship for political purposes. The policy took effect Monday. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
Do you hear that? Asthma triggers are everywhere, from dust mites, pet dander, and pollen, to smog and smoke. An asthma attack can strike anywhere, anytime. Be prepared with quick-acting Primatene Mist. Clinically proven to open airways quickly. It's the #1 FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter. Primatene Mist. Breathe easy again. Use as directed.
News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KBNU.
I'm Bill Walter, KBNU News. News brought to you by Roof Rescue. Cache Valley chapter of the League of Women Voters of Utah will host a Meet the Candidates night on Monday, featuring local hopefuls for the Cache County Council and the Utah Legislature. That event will take place from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the First Presbyterian Church in Logan. The county council candidates will take the stage at 5:30, according to League member Christine Holt, who delivered an open invitation to Logan residents during a presentation to the Logan Municipal Council on August 20th. They will be followed by candidates for state offices, with each candidate receiving a chance to speak, followed by responding to questions. Holt emphasized that league organizers of the Meet the Candidates event hope to get questions submitted ahead of time to give the candidates an opportunity to frame thoughtful responses. Mail-in ballots for that election will be sent out on October 15th, according to league officials. Early in-person balloting will begin October 29th, making it critical to consider the issues that matter most to voters and to decide which candidates are best qualified to represent in the future. The First Presbyterian Church is located at 178 West Center in Logan. A 19-year-old Tremonton man convicted of driving to a Logan park to have sex with who he thought was a 13-year-old girl has been placed on probation for 4 years. Garrett Wade Rhodes was arrested September 12th, 2023, after finding law enforcement waiting to arrest him at a prearranged location. Rhodes was sentenced on Wednesday, August 21st in Logan's 1st District Court. He previously pleaded guilty to enticing a minor by internet or text, amended to a third-degree felony. According to prosecutors, Rhodes began messaging an undercover officer with the Logan City Police Department in early September. The officer was posing as a teenage girl on an internet app which allows users to post photos and videos. Rhodes originally described himself as a 16-year-old boy and began making arrangements to meet in person for the purpose of sexual activity. He told the undercover officer that he wanted her to sneak out of her house at night to meet up with him. As the chats continued, police report Rhodes asked the undercover officer to send him naked images and videos of herself. The officer created several fake files which appeared to be legitimate images or videos that would not open or play. The files were texted to Rhodes' phone and later to his email address. On September 12th, Rhodes messaged the officer that he could come see her around lunch. At the time and designated place, he arrived and was taken into custody by awaiting officers. And Utah's Hogle Zoo announced the death of their 12-year-old snow leopard. Zoo officials said that Chim was euthanized on August 17th after his health began rapidly declining. Officials said the snow leopard had swelling and drainage on his muzzle before his health started going away. The animal health team at the zoo conducted testing and are currently waiting for results. Officials said there will also be a CT and MRI scan to better understand the cause. Chim was born at Utah's Hogle Zoo in 2012. Another snow leopard, Babs, joined him at the zoo in 2021 for breeding to support a snow leopard species survival plan. Officials said Chim is the father of the 2 snow leopard cubs that were born in June 2024. The cubs are not visible to the public yet. Officials said with the birth of his 2 cubs, Chim helped contribute significantly to the conservation of vulnerable snow leopards. KBNU weather brought to you by Logan Extermination. Wasps and spiders think they own your home's exterior. Get a full exterior spray today from Logan Extermination. Call 752-8450. Looking at chance of showers tonight and some thunderstorms before 9 p.m. Slight chance of showers later on tonight. Partly cloudy skies, low around 60. And then sunny on Saturday. High temperature in the low 80s, around 83. Slight chance of showers overnight Saturday night. And then mostly sunny, cool, 72 for the high on Sunday. Get more news at CashValleyDaily.com.
Roof Rescue is your local roofing specialist, dedicated to keeping your home safe and dry no matter the weather. Their team of experienced roofers is here to serve you, providing top-quality service at affordable prices. From minor repairs to complete roof replacements, they've got you covered. Remember, your roof is your first line of defense in protecting your family from the elements. So don't wait until the next storm to discover your roof problems. Call Roof Rescue today at 435-999-4268. They're your trusted local roofing experts, here to keep your home safe and dry. Roof Rescue, celebrating 10 years of providing watertight peace of mind.
Taking news to an all-new level. News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
This is Cache County Fire Chief Rod Hammer. Due to current and predicted weather conditions coupled with extremely dry vegetation in northern Utah, the state forester has determined that measures must be taken to prevent the ignition of forest and rangeland fires. The following acts are prohibited in unincorporated private and state lands. First, no open fires of any kind except within established public facilities, in improved campgrounds, picnic areas, or in permanently constructed fire pits at private homes where running water is present. Second, no smoking except within an enclosed vehicle, trailer, or building, a developed recreation site, or while stopped in an area that is paved or free from dry vegetation. Third, no discharging or using any fireworks, tracer ammunition, or other pyrotechnic devices, including exploding targets. Fourth, no cutting, welding, or grinding metal in areas of dry vegetation. And fifth, no operating a motorcycle, chainsaw, ATV, or other small internal combustion engine without an approved and working spark arrestor. Please help us by doing your part to prevent costly and dangerous wildfires.
Hello, this is Erin Hazard from Erin Hazard Pet Sitting. We're honored to be named the silver winner for pet services in the 2024 Best of Northern Utah. Thank you for believing in us.
KVNU's For the People with Jason Williams and Bill Walter.
And it is Utah known as the fraud capital of the world. Not because we have more people committing fraud, but because we have so many people falling for it.
Going beneath the headlines and connecting you to the newsmakers.
The radio is a great way to get the word out to a lot of people in an emergency, so we thank you for your help and being a partner with us.
For the People on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM, 102.1 FM, online at 610kvnu.com, and on the KVNU mobile app.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. Oh, you hear that? We are operating in our original studio space. We left the studio back in, I believe it was late June, might have been early July. I can't even remember now. But it has been a while since I've been in this room. We've been down the hall at a temporary studio, which will now be converted, now that we're out, will be converted over to a permanent studio for the Fan and the Full Court Press in the afternoons. They've been operating in the afternoons out of the Cool Studio across the hall. We were operating in what was going to become their studio, and the KVNU studio, which I'm back in here today, was stripped down to the cement floor. And it looks nice in here. So I'm excited for our guests as we bring them into the studio over the remaining months of the year to get to see this. The equipment is spanking new. There's not even a speck of dust on this board yet, and not a single stain on the carpet yet from our beverages and things like that. It's nice. This has been quite an ordeal, to be honest. Renovations here at the Cache Valley Media Group started back in November with some carpeting, some staining of wood in the hallways and the windows and the studios and things like that, and new equipment, new lighting. We can change the colors of lights in our studios. Now it's very cool, and it has taken until now for us to officially be ready to go here in the KVNU studio. There's still a lot of work to do, and our engineers have a lot of work to do behind the scenes, but I just wanted to tell everybody about this because it is so unique for a radio group with multiple stations operating live most of the day throughout each and every day. You can't shut down. So all of this had to be done in ways and timed in ways that allowed us to move to different studios, to broadcast from little remote locations. Poor Lynn at Kicks 96 for a good number of weeks was broadcasting out of what at one time was a production studio up the hallway, a very tiny studio with no windows, basically a closet that was meant for just quick production. No one was going to be sitting there for a long time, and Lynn had to operate out of there forever. So it's been a lot of changes, a lot of different things, and a lot of things to get used to. But I'm happy because we're back in the KVNU studio. Although it looks different, I'm sitting in a different spot. And Bill, of course, is not with me here running the board each and every day for the time being. Well, he is with me here right now. He just walked into the studio to drop some news off. And, Bill, I have to tell you.
Fancy new studio.
For listeners, I'm going to hand Bill something here, and maybe he can give his reaction on air. I don't know if you like gum. But these are called grenades, and I have to warn everybody about these. So.
By its very name, it requires a warning.
That's right. They're grenades, explosively strong gum. I picked these up at Maverick. Peppermint Bang is the flavor, and I like strong gum, so I thought, oh, perfect. And I love gum in general, although I've learned to kind of tuck it away during the radio show so you can't hear me chewing. But I bit into one of these just before. Yeah, see, Bill. I bit into one of these just before the show started today.
Are cleaning out.
Yeah, if you have sinus issues, if this wind today kicked up enough dust to set off your hay fever and things like that, go grab these. It's good gum, but man, is that intense. I felt it go up through the back of my throat into my sinuses. My brain, I think, was contracting a little bit. That is the most intense. It goes away after a minute or so.
I may not be able to drive home. I may need to call Uber.
My eyes are still watering. So, yeah, it's been an exciting day here in the studio. But I was just telling listeners how nice it is to be back in this space. And I can turn a mic on for you here if you want, Bill, I think. So we've got it. There we go. There we go.
I don't know. Does this?
That's the one.
You got, okay.
That's
you got
the
me.
one. This board, so I just gotten used to the board in our temporary new studio, and now this board is twice the size because we have a lot more mics here in the talk radio station. So I'm going to have to learn mic numbers and directions. All I know is it's clockwise.
Yeah.
And but it is.
But that mic there, you think it's 3, but it's actually mic 4.
That's right.
The one right across from you.
We skip 3 and 5 and 6, as I understand.
We were
it.
supposed to have like 8 mics in here originally, I guess. So. And
they decided that was maybe a little overkill for the time being.
So 4 for right now.
Yeah. It's nice, though. Guests, when they come in, will have their own monitors and internet access. which does come up at times. They want to pull websites up or have notes in their email.
If they forgot
and
their
things
laptop
like that.
or something.
Yeah, so it's nice to be able to do that. It looks very cool. But, of course, the goal here, and I know, Bill, you're thrilled about this. I am, too. I'm going to have to start, like instituting some kind of personal dress code so that I at least look somewhat professional here.
I'm going to start brushing my teeth.
Yeah,
before
we'll have to work on
here.
the hygiene. But the end goal here is, as we broadcast the show live on 610 AM and 102.1 FM every day, and, of course, the stream at kvnutalk.com and the app, the KVNU app, none of that's going to change, but we're going to add to this eventually here. This is what the engineers are still working on. We're going to be live streaming, so you'll be able to go like to a YouTube channel for the people or for the morning show. Bill and Craig, Bill taking Al's spot there on the morning show for the time being, and it will be on video, so you can watch us.
Scary thought.
Yeah,
only for the brave at heart.
Yeah. And of course they'll put the cameras in a spot to get my fat side.
Yeah,
they always do that. So
I don't think I have a skinny side in my case.
I like to pretend I do. If I stand the right way and far enough away from the camera, I do.
Oh, let me test this cough button on this.
Yeah,
mic.
we've
Let's
got
see.
cough buttons.
Let me hold it in here.
Okay, it worked.
All right.
Yeah, I've got one on. Yep, I got one on this mic too.
Of course,
I
you
also
can turn
have,
off the main control.
Yeah, I've got the board access here, but yeah, that's very nice.
This is nice, though. We have some room over here. I'm trying to think. I think a nice recliner.
I think
be
we
nice
do.
right there in the corner.
I was thinking there's actually enough space. We could probably get one of those little love seat sized fold out beds.
There you go.
If we need to take a nap between hours or something like that.
Craig wears me out in the morning. I just need to go over there for 5 minutes and just lay down, shut my eyes,
And I love this too, the giant big screen on the wall behind me. This is where, so for years, there was this 1990s era, those pastel colors that were popular in the 90s. It was a photo, but it had been touched up by, someone using Microsoft Paint, framed picture of Rush Limbaugh. And he would look over my shoulder through each and every show all day long. And I missed that. The framed Paul Harvey on the wall, missed that
now
too.
It's real people looking over your shoulder.
Yeah, now I can actually click through, if there's breaking news, we can actually have the news on, local and otherwise. Right now we're seeing NBC News report on what looks like a pretty widespread tornado warning through the Tornado Alley area there of the country.
Yeah, we have new channels. I've never seen NBC News Now.
Yeah.
I guess that's a new offering or something that we have.
Speaking of that, Bill, while you're here, before you leave.
When I first started in the studio, I think we had a TV, but I think we had like rabbit ears on it. And you had to try to move the rabbit ears to try to pull in one of the Salt Lake stations, and the picture was kind of snowy. So we have definitely come a long way.
Oh, it's honestly, it has changed so much just in the time I've been here. I was thinking about this the other day. Someone, when we would do remotes. And we used to have to go out with it was 2 to 4 people required, a good hour at least of setup before the show started. And we had to take the van, and we had to be line of sight. And I remember my very first remote, there was something about the rec center. I don't know if it's that little depression, whatever it was, but something about the rec center. We could never do a good show there. And we were moderating and hosting a candidate forum that Teresa Harris had lined up through Logan City for the municipal races that year. But Al Lewis was broadcasting before us that day. I don't remember why. And I remember this is my first experience with Al Lewis in person because he was always on mornings for the first few months I worked there. But it was like October, my second month with the radio group, and we walked in the back door of the rec center, and everything was set up for us, and Al was exploding. Because nothing was working.
Did he chew some of this gum? This grenade gum? Is that what he had?
He probably did.
Oh, okay.
But man, he was running around, not angry exploding, but just running around, cables hanging off of his arms, twisting and tweaking this antenna, trying to get it a little bit higher so we had a better line of sight. And then one of the cables broke off on the back of the mixer. The little connector broke off, and that was it. That was the end of it.
If people only knew what went on behind the scenes, just trying to get a a broadcast on the air.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
it's a minor miracle each time.
Yeah, the fact that we pulled that off, we did them from Salt Lake at the legislature. I mean, it was amazing. But now the technology's changed so much. I can do a remote, just me, with this little black box about the size of a briefcase that has some equipment in it that we used to do remotes. And
it's high tech.
Yeah, it's pretty high tech now. And these boards, I mentioned this to you for listeners. This isn't set up yet, but will be soon. But I'll be able to actually record audio and via an app on my phone or my tablet, get it back to the studio here for Bill to run during the show. So the options for doing more of a live coverage of certain events as they happen, especially breaking news events, but even political events and more. It's just, I don't know, very cool stuff.
Yeah,
and
very nice.
And no one can see this but me and Bill, but it looks cool. This board looks a little bit like Las Vegas. And
it's at least as big as the conference. Oh, you're talking about the board.
The board. Yeah, the table itself.
The table is
I feel
at
like
least
we're
as big as a conference room table.
I feel like we're in an episode of Succession or something here. This is a multi-million-dollar company conference table style table we've got in here. And but I love it. It's open. That I really like that. It's kind of open and there aren't a lot of blocks to my line of sight. I can see guest faces a little better. Poor Frank Schofield, he would always come in with a group when we'd do those the Logan School District spotlights, and he'd have to sit up in the corner in the old studio design.
Away from everybody.
Yeah, and he and I could not see each other, so we were just voices.
The only one he'd look at is me, and that was like consolation prize for him.
A little awkward for you to, just hi.
Just staring each other down.
Oh, man, but, well, you're here. Tell us about this weather today.
It's a mixed bag.
On my drive here, it went from sunny to sprinkling.
We had a thunderstorm warning
to get the water wings.
Now the sun is out,
and now it's sunny again.
But I don't know. The weekend's supposed to be nice. It's supposed to be mid 80s tomorrow and low 70s on Sunday.
Yeah, nice and cool Sunday, and then back up. It looks like into the almost high 80s, close to 90s next week. So yeah, it's weird day though. I again on my drive here when I left where I was at, it was sunny. Stopped at the convenience store on the end of 10th West there on the highway, and got soaked on my short walk into the door because it was raining so hard. By the time I got back in my vehicle, it was sprinkling again, and by the time I got here to the station, it was sunny again. So, but we can expect possibility at least of more of these moving through, right?
Maybe for the next couple hours.
Okay,
I think
into the evening.
It's hard to know. Sometimes you think you're done for the night, and then you get that 2:30 in the morning thunderstorm that rocks your world when you're trying to sleep.
That one last late one trying to catch up to the others. Yeah, it's. I love the weather this kind of time of year. We call it the monsoon season, and I know especially if you've got a dog that's scared of thunder and lightning, it's an unpleasant time. It can mess up weekend camping plans if you're trying to get a few in before the weather fully turns at the end of September. But I don't know. It's just kind of fun, these summer rainstorms as they come through, and we can maybe see a few more today. But, yeah, some pretty intense ones earlier. All right. Well, Bill, thank you for joining us a little bit. I know you've been here since 5 this morning, so we'll let you.
I did get a little break.
You took a break. Took a long lunch. Okay. We'll let you get on your way. Andy Morgan will be joining us here in a bit. We're going to start the movie show early today because we have a lot of catching up to do. I was out last Friday, so we ran with a rerun.
Be sure and give him that gum.
Yeah, I'm going to give him one of these grenades. Seriously, though, I don't ever endorse products here on the show, and I'm not necessarily endorsing.
The national spokesman for Grenades Gum, I'm not, Jason Williams.
Not officially endorsing this. I'm just saying if you want an interesting experience, pick up.
Or if your sinuses are plugged.
Man, will it clear them out. And it's just mint gum, but I don't know what they do. But as soon as I chomped into that the first time, they call it an explosive mint blast, and that is really, really honest marketing on this package. It went all the way through my head fast, but Andy Morgan will be joining us. We'll talk about the Aggie. Actually, Bill, you may want to weigh in on this. Did you see so fans have been pressuring USU for the Ag Day game, August 31st, the opener. They call it the Ag Day game.
Yes.
And fans, I don't remember where the original helmet popped up, but it wasn't really official. It was just, I think it was an artist rendering by a fan. It was a helmet with the Holstein cow spots all over it.
Colors, yeah.
And
the cow helmet.
Well, apparently this caught on and got such a reaction from the fan base, they decided to run with it. So when the Aggies take to the field Saturday, August 31st, they'll be wearing those helmets, Ag Day helmets.
Yeah, I mean, if you're an agricultural school, you're the Aggies, you gotta live it up.
Yeah.
You gotta promote that.
And right now, for a limited time, if you buy a ticket through the website, the ticketing website for the Aggie games, if you buy a ticket to the game on August 31st, you have the option for $29 to buy the T-shirt with the helmet on it.
All right.
I was kind of hoping for a T-shirt with the Holstein cow markings on it. I thought that would have been great, but they went with something a little more subtle. It's a T-shirt with a picture of the helmet in the middle of it.
It should be. You should be able to buy like a complete cow suit.
Oh, I think, yeah,
in white and blue.
I tell you, they'd be able to sell them, but. Yeah, if anybody wants to pick those up, they're available via the ticketing website. And I'm told by the athletic department that this is a very limited thing. Limited number were made, and they won't be making any more. So, all right. Thanks, Bill, for joining us. Andy Morgan will be with us here in a few minutes, and we'll be back with more of KVNU's For the People right after this.
News Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
Whether you weld it, drill it, or bolt it, whatever type of metal project you're working on, make sure you buy your metal products from Palmer's Metal Mart. With locations in Lehigh and Logan, you are never too far from amazing deals on all types of metal products. Steel tubing and pipe, metal roofing and siding, rebar, angle iron, sheet metal, aluminum, and stainless steel. You will love the selection and price at Palmer's Metal Mart. For over 31 years, Palmer's Metal Mart has been the source for metal projects big or small. Get into Palmer's Metal Mart today and take advantage of all the amazing deals this spring. Huge discounts on tubing and pipe, 15% discount on all in-stock metal roofing panels. You will love the selection. If you can't haul what you need, let Metal Mart deliver your product to you. We could give you our phone number now, but do you really have a pen and paper handy? So, look us up. Palmer's Metal Mart in Lehigh and Logan. Everyone's metal store. See you soon.
Intermountain Budge ENT Clinic has an experienced and caring team of physicians and staff to assist you with
ABC
all of
News.
your
I'm
ear,
Daria
nose, and throat
Albinger. Robert
concerns,
F. Kennedy
including head
Jr. is
and neck
suspending
surgery.
his independent
Dr. Kaiser
presidential
Wilson
campaign, and he's
understand that
backing
Intermountain
Donald
Budge
Trump.
ENT Clinic
His sister
will work
Carrie
together
says
to
their
provide
father would
excellent care
not
and
have
support
approved.
Were he
throughout the
alive
entire
today, I
surgery
think the
process,
real
from your
Robert
pre-op
Kennedy
visit to
would
your
have
full recovery.
detested
And they
on
accept
the
all insurance. For more information about Drs. Kaiser or Wilson, search Budge Clinic ENT or call 435-716-1420. Local care with Intermountain expertise.
Join us each week for Music in the Spoken Word featuring the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square, the longest-running continuous weekly network broadcasting the world. Each episode features modern and traditional arrangements of spiritual, classical, and contemporary music and a timely, inspiring message. Truly an uplifting program that will have you returning each week. Music and the Spoken Word with the Tabernacle Choir.
Sunday mornings at 8 and again in the afternoons at 6 on News Talk KVNU.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Broadcasting live from our new studio, which is our old studio, but it looks really, really different. I forgot to mention this. Bill and I were talking about the limited edition Ag Day game day shirt that USU is offering and this alternate helmet that they'll be taking the field in on August 31st for this season opener game. That has kind of the Holstein cow marking on it. It's blue and white, of course, USU colors, but it looks very much like a Holstein cow. And I was hoping for a T-shirt with those same colors throughout. They went with something a little more subtle. It's a black shirt with a picture of the stadium and the helmet in the center. It's classy looking, far classier than an actual Holstein cow color shirt, but I was hoping. But it is available as a limited edition. If you buy tickets through the ticketing website right now, you can get a T-shirt for $29. Once they're gone, they're gone. I spoke with the associate athletic director about that. He sent the link along, and I'll post it to our Facebook page here, but you can also just, Google Aggie football tickets. It'll take you right there. And just be sure to add that, if you want it, shirt to your ticket order. And again, once they're gone, he told us. So photos of this, by the way, at CashValleyDaily.com, and the story, Utah State football to unveil ag-themed helmet in season opener, celebrating the agricultural history of Utah State University. There's a reason outside of the fun of the helmet design and the limited edition T-shirt you can get if you buy tickets now before those T-shirts are gone. It's I feel like this is something that's kind of gone missing for a few years at Utah State University, and maybe it's just me. Maybe it hasn't gone missing, and I just haven't noticed it as much. But to me, there seems to be a concentrated effort to bring some of that we're an ag school feel back to Utah State University. I've seen it, some of the things I've noticed on campus, some of the, now obviously as an ag school, that doesn't mean it's only ag. USU has still a renowned engineering department, the arts and humanities at USU, just the content they bring to Cache Valley every year alone, let alone what they're turning out as far as students and talent, artists in all different kinds of mediums. This is, USU is a well-rounded school, but originally USU was an agricultural school. Those are the roots of Utah State University. And with the new school, the new veterinarian school at Utah State University, with state funding going towards kind of beefing up a couple of programs that had fallen a bit to the wayside over the years through state funding in the agricultural world. The work USU and USU Extension do, coordinating with local 4-H groups and more, this is still a huge part of what Utah State University is and does. And I feel like with all the changes we're seeing around Cache Valley, and on top of that, all the changes in the world itself, this digital, always connected world we live in, it's amazing, right? Yeah, it's never been easier, and will only get easier and more common for working from home, for example, not even leaving the house to do your job. And I think that's a good thing. It for small businesses especially, it opens up opportunities that don't exist otherwise for just starting a business now. So there are great sides to this, but I think one of the unintended consequences of our digital world is we tend to forget things like agriculture. And it can be, as simple as just not seeing it as much. I know that sounds dumb, but it really is a real thing, I think, that fewer people driving past fields full of hay or fields full of cows, fewer people out on their evening walking past a horse or a cow. And I feel like it becomes a bit of a sea change is the only word I can think of here. So I know I'm kind of getting meta on this. It's a USU football game, and it's the opening game. The season hasn't even been defined really yet. And I know a lot of fans wait to see whether it's worth getting excited. I get it. But I'm excited to see USU focus on this and bring a little bit of that ag back into their image that I feel, again, has been kind of lacking in the last year. So check it out. Photo of the alternate helmet and links where you can buy tickets, and the exclusive T-shirt that you can only get with buying tickets for this game. And when they're gone, they're gone. All of that linked on our Facebook page. We'll be back on the other side of the news, get the ball rolling on the For the People movie show a bit early. Andy Morgan with us here in a bit. First, though, the local headlines with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. The Spears Fire near Flaming Gorge Reservoir is 100% contained after more than a month of fighting it. Officials said the fire was started by lightning on July 13th. The containment announcement came Thursday. The fire is burning in heavy timber and down timber and grass, understory, and steep and rugged terrain, officials had said. Officials said the fire was still at 715 acres. A 5-year-old boy died in an accidental shooting, according to officials in Utah County. The incident happened Thursday afternoon around 2 p.m. in Santaquin. Lieutenant Mike Wall with the Santaquin Police Department said when officers arrived at the scene, they found the boy with a single gunshot wound. Emergency medical crews attempted life-saving efforts, but the boy succumbed to his injury. Officials said it was the boy's father's gun. Both parents were in a different room of the house when the shot was fired. The boy's father first attempted CPR before medical crews arrived. Investigators said the child appeared to have grabbed the gun when it discharged. Lieutenant Wall said the shooting appeared to be accidental and no foul play was suspected. He said the child did have access to the gun, but no charges were expected to be filed. KBNU weather brought to you by Car Dolls. If you're spending a fortune to keep your home cool, your home's insulation may not be adequate. Car Dolls is the #1 name in America for insulation with a Logan location. Call 755-5012. You may qualify for a tax credit up to $1,200. Looking at a chance of showers and thunderstorms tonight. Overnight low around 60, and then sunny around 83 on Saturday. Sunny around 72 for the high on Sunday. And still early next week, still nice temperatures, 79 Monday and 85 next Tuesday. You can always get more news at CashValleyDaily.com.
ABC News, I'm Daria Albinger. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is suspending his independent presidential campaign, and he's backing Donald Trump. His sister Carrie says their father would not have approved.
Were he alive today, I think the real Robert Kennedy would have detested almost everything Donald Trump represents.
RFK Jr. is expected to be the special guest the former president says will join him on stage tonight in Arizona. Fed Chair Jerome Powell says the time's come to cut interest rates. He isn't saying by how much, but it could happen as soon as the central bank's next meeting in September. 3 security guards who held a man to the floor at a Detroit area mall in 2014 have been acquitted of involuntary manslaughter. Initially, prosecutors said Mackenzie Cochran died as a result of excessive force and gross negligence. Officers say the black man was combated as they tried to handcuff him. Police in Solingen, Germany say at least 3 people are dead after a knife attack at a festival. This is ABC News.
Thank you for calling Cardall's Insulation. How can we make your home more comfortable today?
Is your home hot? Does your air conditioner run nonstop? Are you spending a fortune on energy? Call Cardall's Insulation, 755-5012. From attics and walls, garages and basements, new homes and commercial construction, Cardall's is the name thousands of homeowners, builders, and remodelers trust. Stay cool all summer and save money on your utility bills. In fact, you may qualify for a tax credit up to $1,200. Cardall's Insulation, 755-5012.
This is Ted Karen with Edward Jones Investments in Smithfield, bringing you the daily financial market report for Friday, August 23rd. After pulling back on Thursday, stock markets rebounded on Friday with all 3 major U.S. indexes moving higher by over 1%. This comes after Fed Chair Jerome Powell indicated in a speech on Friday at the Jackson Hole Symposium that, quote, the time has come for policy to adjust. Markets anticipate that the Fed will begin its rate-cutting cycle at the September 18th Fed meeting. The move higher in stocks follows a nice rally in the days ahead after a sharp market decline on August 5th. Since then, the S&P 500 has moved higher by over 8%. The tech-heavy NASDAQ has rebounded by over 10%. While both indexes are below their July all-time highs, they remain higher by over 17% for the year thus far. Meanwhile, the VIX Volatility Index, also known as Wall Street's fear gauge, has subsided in recent days. After climbing as high as 65 on August 5th, its highest since 2020, the VIX is back to around 16, in line with its average for the year. Overall, the recent better-than-expected inflation and economic data has provided some stability in markets. as well as expectations that the Federal Reserve will start cutting rates at its September meeting. This has been today's Financial Market Report, brought to you by Ted Karen with Edward Jones, member SIPC, serving individual investors with personalized attention and financial advice. Daily commentary is also located on our website at edwardjones.com, and if you would like additional information, please contact any of the 10 Edward Jones advisors in Cache Valley, in Providence, Logan, and Smithfield.
Hi, this is Chris Wilson of Wilson Motor Company. It's hard to believe it, but it's time for our Labor Day sales event. We have a great selection of over 110 new Fords and over 60 Nissans, all with closeout pricing. We have rebates up to $12,000 and rates as low as 0% for 72 months. Or we have over 135 pre-owned vehicles to choose from. Now is a great time to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle. Check out our inventory online at wilsonmotor.com. Hurry in, our Labor Day sales event ends September 3rd.
Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat and the Allergy Clinic now have an office located inside the Miller Medical Building in Tremonton. An additional office open every Friday. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat is the 2024 Best of Northern Utah Gold winner for ear, nose, and throat medical offices and is now located in North Logan, Providence, and Tremonton. Schedule your appointment for an office near you. Go to CacheValleyENT.com. That's CacheValleyENT.com for details. Most insurance products, including SelectMed, are accepted.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. The political conventions are over, finally. I asked around, I did a little unscientific surveying. I asked around folks in Utah politics, in my friend circles, did you watch either the RNC or the DNC? And no. Very few did. Now, granted, these are political junkies. These are people who maybe feel there's nothing for them to learn at something like a political convention. And the RNC and the DNC are not for us originally. They're not for the public. I mean, this is official party business for both major parties. They bring the delegates together. Some official votes have to happen. Just like state conventions here in Utah, candidate nominations have to officially take place, even if it's a given who's going to be on what ballot and running for what office. You still have to, by party bylaws, go through the motions of having a vote. And it has become sort of a televised spectacle. And it gives us an opportunity. You know, last night we ran Kamala Harris's acceptance speech. We did the same during the RNC for former President Trump. It's news, it's information, it's a chance for those who aren't political junkies who maybe don't get a chance to check in on a regular basis and, are aware the elections are happening, but they haven't had a chance to sit down and think about maybe where their votes are going to be going. Anyway, the point I'm making here, this is an observation by a Utah Republican Party operative who I happen to know. And he also works in the Attorney General's office. And we were chatting via direct message on one of the social media apps last night. And I just threw it out. I said, I wonder in the day and age of short video clips shared on social media, TikTok, YouTube, things like that. Even Twitter now has kind of although it hasn't caught on, they have their own video feature trying to compete with TikTok. Instagram and their Reels, I think they're still calling them, things like that. I wondered if, these multi-day political conventions, if they serve a larger purpose other than a chance for respective delegates and candidates and operatives of the two major parties to get together and celebrate, have a big party. Now, that's part of it, too. For the parties, this is a kumbaya kind of a thing. Everybody gets together. It energizes people. They go back and they campaign in their local areas. One of the reasons I don't like the conventions, though, is there's two things that I've been thinking this summer. So you've heard me say on the show many times that we should all pay more attention to the down ballot. In municipal races, the off years, I hate that they're even, I use the word too, but I kind of hate that we call it the off year because it implies that nothing important's happening in a municipal election year, the off year. City council members will vote on things that more directly impact your life every week. The president, maybe once in a term, they do something through an executive order or a cabinet decision or directing Department of Interior or something like that to do something that impacts you directly. Department of Interior, for example, can make a rule that then directs the BLM to do something, and then the BLM closes a road to protect historic artifacts or an endangered species or a threatened wildlife area because people are not staying on the roads in their ATVs. These are things that have all happened, by the way, in Utah and Colorado and other places. Roads have been closed for a couple of years and then reopened and things like that. Sure, that can greatly impact your life. But your city council can put a stop sign somewhere that changes your entire commute. Your city council can decide to fund or not fund a park or a skate park or a dog park. They can approve a development that completely changes the traffic patterns through your neighborhoods. They can approve types of housing that, either bring more people to the city or drive people away or make it so as your kids get older, they don't have anywhere to live. These are more directly day-to-day impactful decisions that your city council makes. And I take it up from there, too. County council, too, though a bit more broadly. The county council makes decisions that more directly impact your life than the president ever will. And arguably Congress, too. Congress can change the taxes that you see taken out of your paycheck, obviously. And that impacts all of our lives directly, for sure. Congress can cut funding for school lunch programs or books and things like that, or schools. And that can greatly impact your life if you're a parent with young kids, obviously. So I'm not at all saying don't care who's in the White House or don't give any thought to who you vote for Congress. What I'm saying is we all seem to have energy for the presidential race and then a bit of energy still for midterm races, making sure our tribe, our party is in the majority, right? Or for normal people, probably just voting for the person that you feel like best represents you in Congress. That's what you're supposed to think about, right? And meanwhile, when we see the returns, election results for county council races, city council races, local mayors, state legislative offices like Utah House and Utah Senate, we see a third of the turnout. And so back to the DNC wrapping up and the RNC 2 weeks before that doing their thing, I worry that these big events becoming so spectacle-like, televised 24/7. We were responsible about it here, I think, at KVNU. We brought you the nomination speech of the two respective candidates for president. That's an important part of this. That's how it all wraps up after 4 days for both major parties at their respective national conventions. And but this has been all the cable news, for example. They haven't talked about anything but the RNC and the DNC throughout the last 4 weeks. And so I worry sometimes that this is part of why, the spectacle nature of this is fun. There are some great video clips. I know, that it's become a bit of a political football, but there's a video clip of Tim Walz's son, vice presidential candidate on the Harris ticket. And Tim Walz, his son, I guess, has a form of I can't remember if it's autism or anyway. It's a mild. He's high functioning, but it's a kind of a learning disorder. But the way it manifests is sometimes even as young adults, people who struggle with this have a hard time having gauged emotional responses. So if they're happy, it's over the top. If they're sad, it's over the top. And it's not something that can be treated. It's how they process things, and I believe it's a form of autism. Anyway, there's a video of him just absolutely sobbing with excitement because he's got a smile on his face at his dad accepting the nomination. Little clips like that are great. And so I'm not trying to say these shouldn't happen. What I'm saying is that I watched all this play out. I watched as much as I could of the RNC, or at least caught the highlights the next day in video clips and news stories and more. Same with the DNC this week. And I worry, though, that this kind of entertainment spectacle that these conventions have become reinforces the idea that every 4 years, weighing carefully your vote for president, and boom, you're done. You don't have to pay attention to anything else. And I really, to be honest with you, I mean, obviously, I would prefer high turnout in every election, because the more people weighing in, the more likely you're going to have actual representation of, the actual communities that are voting, whether that's a national race or a state legislative race or a city council race. But if I had to choose one race, top of the ticket or bottom of the ticket, if I had to choose between top of the ticket or bottom of the ticket for low turnout, I'd choose top. I'd much rather see the 30% that's a high mark here in Utah for our local races in the presidential race, and see what we see traditionally in presidential races, which is 50 to 60% turnout. I'd rather see that in the city council races, the state legislative races, the gubernatorial race even here in Utah. So those are my thoughts. That's all I have to say about the RNC and DNC. Listeners have been asking, have you watched this? What do you think? Which party had the best one? I'm telling you, I couldn't think about anything else as I watched clips and highlights the day after. I didn't watch any of it live. I burned out on that years ago. But the spectacle, it's fun. I get it. These great clips. I mentioned, the one that kind of stood out the most to me. There's nothing wrong with that, but I do worry that it becomes almost like a TV show. And the large media organizations, especially cable news, have zero incentive to make it any more than that. It's concerning to watch this trend continue for 30 years now. We'll be back right after this.
Discount Tire. So much more than a tire store.
Summer breeze may make you feel fine, but you can feel great at Discount Tire's 48th anniversary sale. Buy 3 select tires and get the 4th tire absolutely free. Plus, with every tire purchase, you're entered to win one of Discount Tire's awesome weekly prizes, valued at over $2,500. You won't find lower prices anywhere, guaranteed. Take advantage of the great financing options too, like 12 months no interest, layaway, or no credit check financing. Discount Tire's 48th anniversary sale going on now. Make your tire and service reservations online anytime at webtires.net, or stop by Discount Tire, 885 North Main in Logan, 110 South Highway 165 in Providence, and 728 South Main in Smithfield.
Discount Tire. So much more than a tire store.
Don't let concerns about today's events derail your long-term financial strategy. Edward Jones Financial Advisors can help work with you to understand today's financial landscape and how to be positioned for the long term. Edward Jones can give you the tools for a reasoned, disciplined approach to investing. Get started by calling one of the 11 Edward Jones locations in Cache Valley. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Leaky pipes, water heater not working, maybe even suspect mold growing in your home. Hey, Gary Sullivan here from At Home with Gary Sullivan. I can help you with your home improvement projects each weekend right here. We'll take your calls about your home issues and give you solutions. We'll tell you how to fix it, what to use, and where to get it. We also have expert guests that can help you with those home projects. Hope you can join us this weekend right here on At Home with Gary Sullivan.
Saturday nights at 7 on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. For the People movie show, starting in a few minutes here. We've got a lot of catching up to do. We've also got to talk about the new movies in theaters, Alien Romulus, a Crow remake. This is not a sequel. There were some really bad sequels to that movie. And this is not a remake. This is this is not a sequel. This is a complete remake of the original Crow movie. And folks might not remember this, but one of the reasons the original Crow movies... So one thing to know about the original Crow movie, the soundtrack was more popular than the movie, with good reason, I think. It just was not a great movie, but one of the reasons it got so much attention is Brandon Lee, son of famous actor Bruce Lee, died in the filming of the movie. He was actually killed by a misfiring blank. It was a malfunctioning blank. It was a blank in a gun, and it functioned as a blank. But if you know how these blanks work, there's still the possibility of shrapnel, and it was he was close enough, I guess, that the shrapnel actually functioned like an actual bullet, and he was killed, and that was shocking to everyone. Obviously, Brandon Lee hadn't been in much, but he was kind of he'd become a bit of a star in various ways. Just the news that he was starring in this movie based on a famous and extremely popular comic book, and so his death was big news, and that led to a lot of attention being paid to this movie. It did actually do pretty well at the box office, although most people who saw it one time. Now there's a cult following now. And like I say, the soundtrack was pretty big as far as music sales go. It made a lot of money. It didn't make more money than the movie, but that's because Hollywood and the music world function, in different ways. But so there's a little backstory on this. A remake has hit theaters, and we'll talk about what people have to say about it. We also have a new film starring Channing Tatum called Blink Twice to talk about. There's some catching up to do. Alien Romulus. I finally got to see Deadpool 3. I was a little late on that one. Plenty to talk about. The For the People movie show with Andy Morgan coming up in just a few minutes here on KVNU Logan.
From ABC News.